Hello and welcome to Dancing Lights. My name is Jaron and this is part number 5 of the beginner tutorial series. So far, all of the movements that we've done have been in either split time, same direction, or same time, same direction. And real soon we need to break away from that and start to look into the world of opposite direction spinning. But before we do, I don't leave you hanging dry. I want to give you some tools, some transition tools. So because we're going to be talking about changing direction, we need some tools to get from point A to point B. In other words, how do I go from one move to the next? How do I go from same direction to opposite direction? And so we're going to talk about 3 different ideas today. And the good news is one of them is a concept and one of them is some movements that you already know. These are going to be 3 ideas for transitioning in between direction. So the first idea is just to take a look at moves and to see that yes, you can really just transition in between any 2 moves. It doesn't really matter. But the thing that's going to be the thing that makes it more difficult or easier is just how many things they have in common, right? So far, we've either looked at moves and movements that are same time, same direction, or split time, same direction. And because they've had almost everything in common, transitioning in between them has not really been, it's been trivial, right? I haven't really had to describe how to do it. For instance, if we take a look at something like these 2-petal in-spin flowers, and we compare that to something like the 3-beat weave, we can see, well, they're really, really similar because they both have same time, same direction. They both rely on this idea of opposition, right? The hands going in opposites here. And only the really big difference here is just where the hands are placed. So you don't really have to do a lot of thinking about how to transition in between them because they have so much in common. But what about something like going from the 3-beat weave to something with an opposite timing, right? A little harder. We need to learn some new tools. So I guess my suggestion for you here today, if you get nothing else from this video, if you stop it right here and go, okay, I'm ready to go practice again, take all the things that you know and just see what you can transition in between. Just take 2 random moves and go, how would I go from this to this? And I challenge you to try to come up with some things that you might think, well, I've never even heard of. You know, surprise me and surprise yourself. You'll start to develop a repertoire. You'll start to develop some set of moves that are your own because you've learned how they work together. And it wasn't by rote. It wasn't because a video told you, but you did it just because you thought, well, why can't I put those 2 moves back to back and go between them? Let's try it out and see what works. So the next idea is this idea of pendulums, right? We already know how pendulums work. Remember that video we talked about 1.5s? Well, let's revisit it. And we can use this idea of pendulums to change our direction, right? If I just start right here, we'll start in this nice default idle position here. We're in wheel plane, split time, same direction. And I added in a 1.5 or I added in a pendulum, and let's just do the pendulum and stay there. Okay, so remember we're going to stall back behind us, bring it forward, and let's just stick in this pendulum for a second. At any point, I could do what we've done before. Yes, drop it down and be in the same timing, do the same thing that we did before, right? All that happened was I was in this pendulum, and when I was in a position to continue spinning forward, that's when I dropped it down. Or I could recognize, well, what if I dropped it back down when I'm back here, right? And now I can drop it down and go in reverse. My right hand doing the same exact thing, right? So I was here, I did a pendulum, and I decided at some point, I'm just gonna go drop it down into reverse. And I don't have to be back, I don't have to have the point back here to do that. I could decide to do that here if I wanted to, right? And I could do this at any point. I don't need to, wait a couple of beats here. I can go right into it, right? We'll stall back like a pendulum, and we'll go right into reverse. And same thing with the right hand. At any point, I can go for this pendulum and then drop it down into reverse. Do this pendulum, and maybe I drop down into reverse from forward. It takes a little bit of extra work there, but you can do it. Maybe I go up right down into reverse. Right? So we can use these pendulums to play around with the direction, and kind of play around with the timing too, but really the direction. And so I encourage you, play around with the things that you know. Stick this everywhere. Stick this into the 3-beat weave. Stick this into these 2-petal in-spin flowers. Play around with all the things that you already know. And at some point, maybe we'll just do a pendulum. We'll do a 1.5, and we'll drop it down, and we'll be in opposite direction spinning. Okay? I won't go through everything about how opposite direction spinning works. We're kind of just giving an introduction into transitional tools. But take all the things that you know, put a 1.5, put a pendulum on there, and see if you can just end up spinning in opposite direction, right? And then challenge from there, see if you can get back, right? So we've talked about pendulums. We've talked about the idea that you can really transition between two moves as long as they got, you know, something in common. The last thing that's brand new is this idea of stalls, right? This idea of stopping the momentum of the poi to go a different direction. And we can stall in a lot of different directions. We're gonna talk about 4 different ones. Today in this video, we're talking about stalls out to the side, or you might hear them called bottom stalls. They're not even really stalls, but they're useful for what we're talking about today. And the other one is these down stalls, okay? In future videos, we're gonna be going over up stalls, and maybe at some point we'll go into these top stalls. But for today, we're talking about stalling downward and stalling out to the side. And so let's start with the ones out to the side, because those are the easiest. I think it's pretty intuitive how you get there. These are literally just the back half of the pendulum, right? Remember when we were here and we said, if we just turn this bottom portion, looking at the left hand, if we just turn this bottom portion into an extension and then pendulum forward, right? This turning it into the extension is a stall out to the side in a sense. You don't need to go full extension. You can just kind of stop it there, but it's the same idea. It's just like the back half of a pendulum, right? It's just the back half of a pendulum. So from there, take that first thing that we did, take this first idea of just going through all the things that you know and putting these pendulums into it, right? And now take all the things that you know and just put these stalls to the side in there, right? You can even start with this really simple static move in wheel plane, where we're in split time, same direction. And maybe we add a turn to it. And at some point I just say, I'm just gonna stall out to the side. Now be in opposite direction spinning. Let's do another stall. We're back to the same direction spinning, and then we'll turn with it, right? Just playing around different ideas. These stalls out to the side, like I said, these are really just the back half of a pendulum, but I use them all over the place. The main idea here is you wanna aim for a nice parallel with the ground position with the poi, and I want it to be nice and controlled, right? Watch my hand as I stall out to the side. My hand kind of goes with it, both to maintain some sort of even tension on the poi, and so that I have a nice cushion to bring it back, right? If I didn't do that, you know, we're gonna have something like that, where it's not quite a beat, not quite a thing. You really gotta kind of go with it a little bit. So that's side stalls or bottom stalls, whatever you want to call them. The other one that I want to talk about is these downward stalls, right? And the idea here, let's actually just pick one hand at a time. I'm going to start with the left hand, and let's spin it. Actually, let's start with the left hand out to the side here, like we're in this T position. Let's spin in this direction, and watch the poi head as it comes around. It comes up and over the top, hits maybe 9 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending on which way you're facing, and begins to head downward, okay, right at the point where it's about parallel with the ground. I want to imagine it's following this path like down into a sinkhole, right? And my hand's going to follow it right over top of it and let it land real gently right down there, right? So it'll look something like this. Again, as it's coming past my elbow, past parallel with the ground, it's going to follow this curved path and go straight down in between my legs. My hand's going to follow it, because that hand following it is what kills the momentum. Right? If I didn't, it's just going to end up doing another loop, another beat. It's the hand following it, right, that allows me to stop the momentum. And then we pull it out and go the other direction. So again, I'm spinning inwards towards my body, towards this center line, and I'm going to imagine that the poi is going to follow a line straight down in between my legs, this curved path, and then my hand follows it. Okay, we go the other direction as well. Let's start with same hand, left hand, but we're going to be cross the body now, spinning other direction, and it's the same idea. As the poi head passes roughly parallel, I'm going to imagine it following this path straight down in between my legs, and my hand follows it. I pull it out and go the other direction. Okay, again, cross body. It crosses roughly parallel with the ground. We drop it right down. Okay, we do this both directions, both hands. So follow along if you want to. Let's start with the right hand. We're going to be spinning inward towards the center line. Drops down right between our legs. It crosses, kind of follows this curved path into the center line. Pull it out, go the other direction. Right down between the legs, go the other direction. Start cross body. It's the same idea. When it passes parallel with the ground, drop it right down, pull it back out. Passes parallel, drop it right between the legs, pull it back out. So we have both hands, both directions. We've learned a couple of different stalls, out to the side, downward, and what we've covered so far with these down stalls is just bring it towards the center, but that's not the only place that you can do these downward stalls. In fact, I encourage you for a nice drill, nice exercise, let's just go down to one poi at a time, and we can stall. We don't need to just do it towards the center. I could stall out to the side here. I could stall out to the side here. Right? Watch the position of the hand as I do this as to how I make this happen. Right? I'm turning my wrist over in order to make this easier. But I encourage you, just as a drill, see all the places that you can stall with this. Let's make it really simple. We'll only do this with one hand. We'll just see where we can add in these bottom stalls out to the side, where we could add in these down stalls, right? So I can kind of just get in. I can just think about all the things that I can do that I already know how to do, right? All the pedals, all the 2-pedal in-spin stuff that I know how to do. And I can decide, okay, I'm going to stall right there. Let's keep on spinning. Let's stall it to the side, maybe. Let's do a down stall. Let's continue all the things that I know. Let's stall here. And maybe I do something really crazy and I stall inwards towards myself. Maybe you want to try something really nuts. And then you do this with the other hand. Just some ideas. Just play around and see what you can come up with. The whole point of this is just to get comfortable throwing in some stalls into some random places, changing direction, and just see what happens. And then the next step after that, if that starts to feel comfortable, we'll add one more layer of complexity, okay? We'll come back to this position. We'll come back to this thing that we know really, really well by this point, I hope. We're spinning in static, in wheel plane, split time, same direction, okay? And all I'm gonna do, I wanna maintain this relationship the whole time. I'm just gonna start adding in these stalls places, see what it feels like. Yeah, add a down stall there. Maybe I'll stall it to the side, come back here. Let's do this in the right hand. Maybe I'll stall backwards. I'll turn and stall down, bring it forward. The main thing that you want to focus on when you're going through these drills, especially when you start to add in a second hand and you start to develop some muscle memory, the main thing that you really want to focus on here is maintaining this timing relationship, right? If I start in split time and I do some stuff, I want it to still be in split time. Remember, you can check this, make these beats really, really big, and you can go, okay, my hands are going in opposite sort of a pattern here. It must be in split time. Or you can maybe go, okay, well, let's do a thing. Let's stall once, and wait a minute. Now they're at the same timing. I kind of messed something up. So we practice these drills. We go through these really simple ideas because we want to make sure that whenever we do a stall, whenever we change direction, we can maintain this relationship that we set up. And maybe you're going for something specific and you go, okay, I want to go from split time to same time. That's your choice, but make sure you can do it. Make sure it's intentional. and isn't just kind of getting out of control willy-nilly. So to recap everything, we talked about the idea that you can transition any move into any other move. I'm giving you permission to do it. You don't have to wait for a video to tell you how to go from different moves to different moves. Go nuts with it, see what you can come up with. It's just a matter of some things are going to be easier, some things are going to be harder. We talked about pendulums being a really, really useful tool for changing direction. And then lastly, we talked about a couple of new ideas, a couple of stalls, down stalls. We can do these in multiple different locations. Both hands here. We talked about these stalls out to the side, which are really just, they're kind of just pendulums, but just cut off. And then we talked about just going through our whole repertoire of things that we know, gradually adding in these ideas, and just trying to put some stalls wherever they might go. Just seeing what happens, seeing what you come up with. Remember, keep it simple, keep it clean, keep your planes clean, and really focus on getting the timing to be consistent. In future videos, we're going to continue this idea of stalls. We're going to continue to look at opposite direction spinning, and we're going to get into a little bit of anti-spin flowers. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.